10, 12,000 word stories and taking 3, 4, 5, 6 months to do them, and maybe that will be mocked by some people who feel that that's kind of bloated and indulgent. But I look at it as a time of just tremendous creative freedom and richness, and it just ended so abruptly. We literally went from the best year in the history of LA Magazine, as far as I know, in 2008, to just a cold, brutal economic reality the next year.
And how hard was getting laid off on you? Is it among the most traumatic things you've ever experienced, or what?
I mean, it was not traumatic in the personal sense. I mean, I don't think it was anything personal. It was just it was truly a business decision, and they got rid of all 3 staff writers, and we were some of the top paid people in the house, so it solved a lot of problems getting rid of our salaries, and frankly, having staff writers filling up your feature well is an expensive way to do business, because you're paying them for a lot of time in between stories, or you're paying them a lot of benefits as they're doing stories, rather than just paying for the story that you want. So that's an expensive way to do business, but yeah, I mean well, look, the reality is that it kind of dovetailed with the release of my book. So even though I got laid off, I had this book coming out in a couple months, and I was able to sort of avoid brooding over the fact that I wasn't employed, and really invest what remaining money I had and all my emotion in the release of this book. Almost exactly a year ago from today. And so that kind of took my mind off of it, and sort of allowed me to believe that perhaps I was embarking on a new career as an author, and I would be writing books from here on out. And while I don't think The Opposite Field is my last book by any stretch, the reality of the publishing industry is that making your living from writing books is, extremely difficult and extremely rare. And so once the glow of publication and the glow of touring and all that kind of stuff and book signings had worn off, I woke up roughly around January 1st of this year and realized, I needed a job. And there didn't seem to be any readily available.
Is there anything you found interesting in the write-ups of your book and the being interviewed about your book and the book tour and interacting with the public about your book?
I thought I found it a little well, the highs were high and the lows were low. I had some events where 100 people showed up and there was an hour wait to this line of people waiting to greet me and have their book signed. And I had other events that were just utterly humiliating. I had one event in Northern California where exactly 0 people showed up. And I had driven up to the Bay Area, and it was this cold, wintry night, and you sort of ask yourself, what the hell am I doing? But I suppose it wouldn't be a book tour if you didn't have those kind of moments. When people came out who connected with the material, that was it was immensely gratifying, and it didn't matter whether it was 50 people or 5 people, as long as there was somebody who really got what I was doing. And I still get that. I still, I get emails, every other week from some stranger who's never written to an author before and finds my email and says, I just got to tell you, your book spoke to me on this profound level. And that is, that's just, as as a writer, that's just so immensely gratifying. Yeah. What I found frustrating was there seemed to be this pressure to kind of define what the book was about. And maybe that's just, maybe I'm fooling myself if I think you don't have to do that. But I found that reviewers had a hard time talking about the book without sort of getting bogged down in the baseball stuff. I found that my publisher, even though they've been, immensely supportive of the book and they're huge fans of it, wanted me to push the baseball angle just a little bit more because they thought that would tap into kind of a pool of Little League readers, and I just don't think it's a Little League book. I think it's about baseball, in the most incidental way. That's that becomes a frame or a gimmick to set the characters in motion. And this is a book about, first of all, an outgrowth of my life as a journalist, of this rare opportunity I've had to be a storyteller, to have this license to go out and poke around in places I don't belong and try to translate these experiences. And then it's about relationships and me and my son, but me and my parents, and me and my ex-wife, and me and the co-commissioner, and then finally, to me, it's just about it's about L.A. It's about just kind of navigating, really one of the great, remarkable cities of the world, and so it doesn't, it doesn't really need to be about anything, but people want to know what's it about, and I was at a book fair last Saturday. I was at the Duarte Festival of Authors, and had a great time and enjoyed speaking to people. But I was surrounded by a lot of self-published authors who were they were trying to find their niche in the marketplace, and so they were really promoting their book as a self-help book or as some sort of mystery genre thing or as a young adult thing. And, it was really about tailoring what they've written to some sort of ready-made audience out there. And I found myself sitting at a table, like at this booth, people walking by, trying to explain my book to them. And I found myself kind of at a loss. I didn't really... I can obviously talk about my book at great length, but I didn't really know what words would convey to a stranger just passing by the qualities that would make my book attractive to them.
And, surely that's almost distasteful.
Well, it was. I enjoyed myself very much at the Duarte Festival of Authors, but figuring out how to sell yourself, how to. You want to just say, that this is a beautiful story. You want to say I've been writing my whole life, and that there's something in the way I put words together that I believe is going to hook you and speak to your heart and soul, but that's not really, you can't quite say that, and it's not what the consumer really wants to hear. The consumer wants to know, what's it about?
Did you finally get a divorce?
No.